Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Price List Update Summary video series brought to you by Actionable Insights. You've got Harrison here, and you've got Whatley there, and we're here to talk about the changes to the Xactimate price list in August of 2022. Whatley, we've got 18 new line items to dissect, plus a bunch of changes to existing line items that I know it's going to be pertinent to anybody watching this series. Share it with your friends. Little quick intro. You may have seen some posts from Actionable across the industry. You may have got an email this month from us about the new Actionable Xactimate profile. While we're really excited about what this profile is offering to those that are using it in the closed beta, think of it this way. While you're writing it in Xactimate, wouldn't it be nice to have some guidance about what line items are warranted or not? What line items did I potentially forget? Did I make a mistake that's going to hold this claim up? This is the kind of thing that we've been building into the Actionable Xactimate profile, live estimating guidance while you write to make sure you end up with the most accurate estimate possible at a speed in which does not result in weeks of back and forth on the back end and negotiating and the like. We want to fix speed and accuracy at the same time in this industry, something I'm really excited about that helps contractors, carriers, and policyholders across the board. So if you're interested in learning more about the Xactimate profile from Actionable Insights, hit us up. We've got information everywhere. Just go to any of our pages on any platforms or check us out or hit us up on getinsights.org.
For 10 years, you and I have built digital assets and access to things that are heady and require training to be able to leverage to great effect and take work to get the most out of. This represents a new paradigm for Actionable, where you just simply click one button and you click the Actionable profile when you launch Xactimate, and it's as if you have a Xactimate trainer, a Ben Justison, a Seth Harrison sitting over your shoulder, like guiding you towards constraining overages that would encumber swift claim settlement and making sure you don't leave out warranted line items. It's really that simple.
It's exciting.
It's going to be revolutionary. Eventually, everybody listening to this is going to be on some version of it. I'm pretty confident about that. It's really a no-brainer. It's just being able to wrap your head around what a big leap thing it actually is. And that's why we're having even trouble describing what it is in our marketing material. I've never explained it that way. If that resonated, then let me know down below. If it did not, let me know down below and I'll figure out how to repackage it again. But boy, after 3 years and a lot of work on behalf of Harrison's team, they're bringing something to market that it's work to be proud of.
We've got a few months left in the closed beta where we are offering discounts to those jumping in now. Otherwise, it'll be released publicly in a few months.
There's no way that beta is open after the end of August.
No. Okay.
A few months. This is August.
Let us take a look at the changes to the Xactimate price list in August 2022. If this is your first time watching, a reminder, our goal is to look at the new line items that were added to the Xactimate price list, talk about why were they added, how are we supposed to use these new line items. If you don't know they exist, you probably won't be using them. So it's a good time to learn about what's new in the software for line items. We also dissect the changes to additional item information, changes to yield, which impact the overall unit price of a line item. So this month, we've got 18 new line items and some hot ones, some interesting ones. Whatley, let's start here at the top. I've got X1 open here, and I've got the August 2022 price list. And one of the first new additions this month is a corner bead by linear foot line item in the drywall category. Now, in our preparations for this, we clarified with the pricing department around, hey, what is the intention of this line item? And probably the most important question, when is it not supposed to be used? One of the results of that conversation was, if you're applying drywall linear foot line items, DRYLF or alike, this corner bead line item, that corner bead would already be included in the DRYLF line item. So you would not typically use DRYCBEAD corner bead by linear foot with drywall linear foot options. However, if you have an incredible number, it's like Whatley, how would you say, when is corner beads, this line item, supposed to be used?
Yeah, so very directly, it's very different than bullnose that we would use on the corner. Like we would apply bullnose to linear fit or by square footage. There's two line items for that when bullnose is applicable in that room. You've got outside corners, fine, add your bullnose. That said, this is quite different. The corner bead line item was introduced only when you'd have like an outside amount outsized amount of outside corners. It's like a tongue twister.
Nice.
One, or like you guys have all been there as restorers. Somebody came in, did a sloppy mitigation job. They were using a reciprocating saw. They busted that seam all the way up. The drywall repair might be very small, so a little DRYLF by 2 feet, but you've got to deal with that seam all the way up the wall. Well, okay, how do we deal with that? That's corner bead. But understand that regular drywall 5/8, regular drywall a 1/2, it includes corner bead. That is different than bullnose. Bullnose is the add for line item that goes on top of that corner bead to let's see, represent the additional labor and material associated with doing a bullnose. This corner bead is only to be used when you're using a very small amount of drywall and you have some scenario where the corner bead is disrupted significantly.
Yeah, so Verisk in the pricing department trying to give us some insight in the additional item information as to the use case scenario of this new corner bead drywall line item. Note this item is intended for small repairs by a tradesperson already on the job, performing additional tasks and or as an additional line item for jobs with excessive amounts of corner bead compared to the assumptions for the normal drywall line items. This item may also be used when a special trip is required for the corner bead only and the automated minimum adjustment is used. So kind of Whatley said, hey, typically most drywall line items include corner bead in some fashion. Not all do, so double check your components. You can always check what components are in your line item by coming to the unit price section here and hitting the I for information to learn more about the components inside of that line item. But occasionally,
how did you get the variable PC? Is that the default?
That was the default variable when it was
added. That's a problem.
I'll add it again down here, DRYCBEAD, just for showing, see, PC 48.
That's a mistake. Okay.
And if you add it in the main level, it probably will have a calculation of 0 because it's not reacting to a sketch.
Yeah, so that can be made better. Look for that change to come through in the coming months because PC would not make sense in almost any scenario I can think of. That's an inverse corner from when it would be applied. 1 and 2, if you ever had 48 linear feet, I'm an adjuster, I'm like red flag that because it really is not often going to be in an average size room greater than maybe 12 or 18 linear feet.
One of the examples that we talked about in trying to confirm what is the use of the corner bead line item was specifically around dry patch LF. Many people will know dry patch J, tape joint for new to existing drywall, right? Since its introduction in 2018, it's become a popular line item for use. But dry patch LF is specific around seams popping and needing to make just a linear tape joint repair. I look at the corner bead as a similar use case of it is designed as an option that wouldn't be needed to add to most scopes when performing drywall, but in situations where it's warranted and you need extra corner bead, now we have a line item for that corner bead. So that's a great adoption to the price list in my opinion. All right, next, 2 other line items in the DRY drywall category. We have drywall window return and up to 6 inch and drywall window return greater than 6 inch. Taking a look at the information of this line item, right? It was intended to be used for repair purposes and as an additional line item in situations where there's an excessive amount of window returns within a specific job, right? So again, kind of good to have the option of hey, if you've got excessive amounts of window trim on a job that would not typically be included in the window related line items performing that activity, now you have a standalone line item to be able to purchase, execute, and invoice for the additional window returns required.
I'm going to call an audible because there's no image here. So I'm going to jump over here. I won't be able to hear you, but I'm going to show everybody what a window return would look like in a commercial environment. This is a commercial line item.
Nice. Okay.
This is a window return, about 6 inches.
Yeah.
Here, you've got a tilt up building. There's a certain depth to that wall that's pretty unique to commercial construction. And this accommodates the additional labor material for that return. The delta between the 6 inch and larger, the smaller 6 inch or greater. So if you had one that was a thicker wall and beyond this, so it would need to look deeper than this, then you would use the greater than 6 inch, and that's applied by linear feet. The nice thing about this line item and toying around with sketch, Harrison, is when you mouse over the window itself, it will automatically apply the linear foot. So you don't even have to worry about that measurement, provided it's sketched out. accurately. And then boom, there you go, $11 or $12. I think it's a great addition. It just kind of continues on with that theme that you and I've seen for the last 3 years, which is an outsized focus on commercial line
And
items.
when you join Xactimate Ninjas, our Facebook group for all Xactimate users, if you're not in there yet, go join. Great place to post pictures and ask questions about how do I sketch, what line item do I use, etc. How do I do this Xactimate thing I want to do? We've seen a lot of requests. When you enter that group, we have 2 questions, like what name a line item that should exist that does not, and tell us a way that Xactimate could be improved. We field those responses and we use them in our meetings with Varus to talk about these things. And something we've been seeing a lot of Whatley recently is requests for more commercial line items, right? People want to be able to use this software in commercial as accurately as possible. So it is great to see that trend continue. Moving on to line item number 4 in August. We have a new FCS floor covering stone line item for add-on for diagonal stone tile installation. We have similar line items for tiles, for diagonal tiles, diagonal flooring. There's lots of
FCT, that's right.
lot of add for line items around, hey, if you've got a pattern that you've got to install this particular thing in, we get that that's harder to do than just throwing it all in there, square and rectangle. So now we have a line item in the FCS category for diagonal stone tile installation.
Yeah, it probably just mirrors the regular FCT ones, floor covering tile.
Yeah.
And I expect the yield would be pretty similar, but yeah, this one's even more warranted because dealing with stone, natural stone, is actually even more complicated. You'd have even more waste than you would have with a ceramic because it would be more consistent if you're ripping that with a wet saw. Stone can be a little wackier, have some fissures in it, etc. So good addition to the price list.
Absolutely. 2 new line items for garbage disposer air switches in the APP appliance category. You got your normal air switch and you've got the plus version, a high grade air switch. Taking a look, this labor trade code is in the PLM category code, which we like to see. And what is in here? You've got labor and you've got the material to be able to install this air switch kit. What does it include? Standard finishes, maybe single or dual outlet, includes drilling hole and countertop if needed, right? I've got an air switch in my house. I absolutely love it. So it's great to know that if something ever happens to my kitchen and we got to do something, there's a line item for it. And I'm sure this was a hang up for a lot of contractors and adjusters of how do I invoice for the air switch? So to have that now, which I think is becoming more commonplace, especially in new kitchen sink installations and alike, great addition in my opinion.
It's weird that it's called an air switch. I couldn't have told you that, but now we know.
Yeah, now we know.
Learning something new.
Continuing the trend of the last 2 to 3 months, we've seen a collection of metal-related roofing line items in both the RFG and MTL categories. While you and I have questioned on this video series, in what context are contractors supposed to use the MTL category roofing line items? Typically, when we do roofing work, we have roofers, and there is a difference in the labor trade code between RFG category and MTL. MTL category has steel workers, which in the Xactimate price list, pretty much universally across the board, are charged at a lower rate than roofers. So we got some clarification on this, and this ties into 8 of the new line items. These MTL related line items, Whatley, is more for roofing metal, is more for agricultural applications, large metal structures and alike. Well, how would you clarify?
I would say other structures. So even the coverage itself, it probably wouldn't be under dwelling. This would be a coverage. It's sometimes coverage D or coverage C, depending on the policy, but it's in other structures. And a lot of times these structures like sheds, Harrison, that's where this comes in. They're not even at height or large. If it's a 3-story barn, I feel like it would reconcile more with the RFG category due to the outsized exposure to the contractor, to the restorer from a work comp perspective. But a lot of sheds agriculturally, they end up in a claims environment, and those are assigned to other structures, and where the metal worker is a lot of times the one that will do that work. I mean, they're coming out with harnesses and so on for a shed that's 7 feet in the air. So that's where the MTL category adds value, where it really bifurcates, but the roofing. But if it's actually part of the dwelling, the main structure of the home, traditionally that would be the RFG would be a more accurate category for that particular activity. There's a work comp component to it. There's a height component to it. And there's also a fit and finish component to it. If your shed that's just keeping your hay dry leaks a bit, that is not a problem. But if your roof leaks into your family room during Christmas, that's a major problem. So there's a difference in like tradesmanship and so on. And so understanding when to apply MTL, think about it as being in other structure that way, and then being at a reasonable height that wouldn't require harnesses and so on.
Love it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I'm glad we got the chance to answer some of our questions that we've been publicly asking in this video series. Now, here's the 8 new line items for this month. Gable cornice return. Gable cornice strip, gable cornice return, 2 stories or greater or alike. You've got RFG, MTL, right? Returns or strips. So if you're looking for gable cornice returns or gable cornice strips, and at different heights, 1 story or 2 story plus, you have 8 new options, 4 in the RFG category, 4 in the MTL category to invoice for that. Down here, we've got the flash parapet wall only rubber. So we've also seen, in line with commercial additions and roofing additions, we've seen some parapet wall additions over the last few months. Specifically, the new ones this month are around rubber, up to 3 feet in rubber, or between over 3 and under 6 feet rubber flash parapet walls. Always nice to have that option.
Parapet walls, guys, it's like thick flat roof, commercial, and then comes up often 3 or 4 feet. So you don't see the air conditioner HVAC on top of that tilt up building that is a parapet wall. There's been a number of additions to the price list in our RFG as it relates to parapet wall. In my estimation, I think that the considerations for parapet wall for the various building methodologies have been accommodated at this point.
That's fantastic. Here we have synthetic felt double coverage / low slope. So this is by the square. I thought this was an inch one. You have standard grade and you have normal. Let's take a look at the normal one here. We'll take a look at the components. You've got RFG, you've got some felt cap nails and some synthetic roofing underlayment, right? So it sounds like we know the roofers of the industry to be very vocal at times with the pricing department about what line items they need to be able to invoice for.
They're very vocal with everybody.
We saw a couple months ago a new addition that literally was the #1 request by everybody in this industry for years: the ability to invoice for removing an additional layer of nailed in felt.
I don't think the carriers were asking for that.
Okay, but yes, fair, but it now exists. We saw that a few months ago, but now we have, it looks like a kind of a continuation, or at least further adding options around double coverage, low slope, specific to synthetic roofing felt in this scenario.
Yeah, you got it. So this is for sub 412 slope. So like 12, 12, 12, maybe a 412 like this. So if you're dealing with a roof sub 412 in slope, then this line item would be warranted.
And there's your 18 line items for the month. That's the new line items. Molly, there's some big ones: the corner beads, the window returns, the diagonal stone.
Is this the biggest month of the year?
I don't know. If you want to talk,
my gut says yeah. I think this is the month. I think this is the biggest changes we've seen in 2022 to the price list. They really made up for last month
with 0 line items in July. The only counterpoint I would have is, I think with the direction the industry is going, May 2022, with the introduction of Fee Scan 3D and Fee Sketch, the ability for contractors and adjusters to use geospatial capture technology to document and settle claims, as well as to order digital assets, digital sketch assets like Matterport's True Plan, Eagle View, Hover, and alike, right? I think that will have a major implication on the industry's ability to adopt this technology and policyholders be reimbursed for the value that it provides to the claim.
Yeah, I'm in accord with you there.
So this is
a collection of line items, like by number, and ones that are impactful this month stands out to me. What other changes do we have besides new line items?
So thank you for asking. I'm going to widen up my share screen here. All right, we got a different monitor we're working off this month, so hopefully that looks good. Big quick transition, right? Okay. Not only did we look at the 18 new line items that were added to the Xactimate price list this month, we also look at changes to existing line items, and we do have a slew of changes to dissect here. On the left, I have July 2022, an X1 ESX open with the July 22 price list. On the right, I have August. So there's actually a few yield adjustments here, and we're going to start with the removal activity code for a vanity top 1 sink cultured marble. And you'll see on the left side in June, when we take a look at the associated yield, I'm going to go to unit price, hit the I for information, and hit the edit on the labor components. I can see the yield. This direct yield, as you may have heard us address in this video series before, is referencing in a perfect clean slate environment, not restoration inside someone's home, in a perfect environment, how many, what's the linear feet? How many linear feet can a contractor remove from their of a vanity top culture marble per hour? All right. And so in July, the yield for this was 56 linear feet of vanity tops culture marble could be removed in an hour. All right. Let's take a look now. In August, you'll see that has been reduced from 56 linear feet to 17 linear feet.
I hadn't seen this, but I was like, that seems ambitious.
Remove 56 linear feet of vanity top cultured marble would be difficult in an hour. You would destroy a lot more in the process.
Did you have a backhoe in the bathroom?
I want to implore everybody watching this video series. This is the importance of feedback to the pricing department. The pricing department wants the price list to be the best that it can be. They just need data and feedback to be able to refine what's there. So this is probably a perfect example of somebody looking at this information, reaching out to the pricing department and saying, hey, this does not align with reality of what we do on a daily basis. Can we reevaluate? Whatley, we've talked about independent verification and response as an important thing to the pricing department when you reach out at pricing@verus.com and request independent verification response. So it's nice to see this update. Now, that's a big
about that. I've always been surprised about how open and humble Greg Pine, Cameron Porter's department has been about not posturing like their 17,000 structural line items are infallible. They recognize that there are some wacky things like this that exist within the price list. As we stumble upon them as users on both sides of the claim, I think it's our obligation to bring that forth. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, like they're trying the best they can, but it's unbelievably complicated to handle that many line items with that many different activity codes and 470 regions. So anyhow, if you find stuff like this, it is possible that it could be wrong, and they do their very best to address those deficiencies when it's brought to their attention.
Now, this was an interesting part for me. That's a big price change. Unit price went from $1.81 by linear foot to remove it. This is the San Diego price list, by the way, to $5.81, almost 4 to 5x the original price. Now, on the flip side, the replacing countertop cultured marble also had yield changes on the replace side. So on the left side, historically, you could install, what is this, 2 square feet per hour? Is that really what that says? 2 square feet per hour in the direct yield for installing culture top.
Okay.
The updated direct yield is now 6.5 square feet per hour.
Yeah.
So
similar delta by percentage, right, between those two.
Yes, they reevaluated the cultured marble countertop line items just to simply align with, hey, what is actual reality of execution on the job site here? We can install more than 2 square feet per hour. Typically, it's closer to 6.5. And a reminder, by the way, for those that are unfamiliar with yields and direct yields and alike, this direct yield, I clarified, is a perfect environment because there is a final yield or a net yield that is what the line item considers for its pricing after you implement what we call supporting events or the inefficiencies of working in restoration. When you've got people and contents and chaos along the way, we don't work in efficient environments in this industry, but we like just referencing direct yield in these particular examples when we go through them. All right. Similar with countertop, the countertop Onyx as well saw a similar change in yield. Yield went up. We've been talking about for years, Whatley. Let's see if I can scoot back, right? There's an inverse relationship. We'll do our King Tuts here. There's an inverse relationship between price and yield. When yield goes up, the price goes down. When yield goes down, the price goes up. Hopefully nobody clips that. My goodness. Okay.
My goodness.
Obviously, when they look into one line item, they may look into all related relevant line items and determine if changes need to be made. So we've got some changes in the yields and resulting in impacts on the pricing of those marble sink line items. Lastly, we did have some changes to additional item information here. You'll see about, I don't know, 10, 12 line items here around hip or ridge cap. So the description historically before only said ridge cap,
Right?
ridge cap composition singles, ridge cap synthetic, ridge cap. It now says hip or ridge. And so this was a clarification from the pricing department to be able to say, hey, this line item was intended for use in both hip applications, ridge applications, and etc. So for contractors that may have said there's no line item for it or wasn't sure, the pricing department is clarifying, hey, this is the intention of this line item to address that activity in the scope that you're writing and executing on a job site. Lastly, a line item I don't think I've ever seen in use. Had a slight change. EQA Solgi, a silo unloader, grain bin sweep auger. It now says
If you were writing for Farm Bureau, then you would have run
yes.
across the grain bin sweeper.
Basically
auger.
a little description change here that used to say grain sweep arm auger now says grain bin sweep auger. All right.
Big stuff, big stuff.
Big stuff. Now, we always like occasionally Verisk will provide us with a preview of what's coming next, right? Or what are the line items we're looking to adopt in the potentially next month or the months beyond. Here's what they listed in the August update. Future inclusions or future line item adoptions may include add-on items for installing fencing in cold weather or difficult areas. We've seen that one on this list before, so it looks like they're working on that. Oak hollow core bifold doors.
Yeah.
All right. As well as insulation board in the siding category. I like to see that one because we not only are we getting requests for line items and roofing related areas, we get a lot of requests for people looking for more siding related line items. So to be able to have or have them looking at insulation board in the siding category, I think provides the options that people need in program work or non-program work to accurately estimate for the costs associated with those activities.
Cool. I dig it.
Anything else, Whatley?
No, man, I think that does it. Great month. This will be exciting. Comments down below with your favorite line item. We'll make it happen. And I will see you guys next month. Keep building.
Thank you for following Actionable Insights. Check us out at getinsights.org. Follow us on all social media platforms, wherever you can find us. It really does help. We appreciate it. And in the meantime, good luck settling those claims out there.